Hi, hello, how are you all this fine day? I hope that if you're here, you subscribe to this channel if you're not already. And you check out the links that are down below. There's going to be social media, my website, a newsletter I still need to update because time management, executive dysfunction, that's a thing. And whatever you do, I appreciate it. So, this topic has become more relevant to me than I first thought. To give you some context, I will be about a year now, wild enough that I've known, suspected, at least self-diagnosed myself with autism. So obviously I did the whole deep diving into all the research and trying to learn who the heck I actually am. And a very universal experience for autistic people is meltdown, having a meltdown, which stereotypically you probably think of children having temper tantrums, just yelling, screaming, crying, throwing themselves around, all those things, which in a sense they might seem on the surface very similar to an autistic meltdown. The distinction here though is that rather than a meltdown being a way to get someone's attention, if for whatever reason you're not having your way, you want to sway people a certain direction, so you start getting really emotional, as is the case with temper tantrums. Autistic meltdowns are a response to high stress, which for us, that can include lots of sensory input all at once. It could be being in a crowded, hectic location, dealing with a lot of people at once, dealing with a lot of changes at once, and really it depends on the person, but if you know you've experienced it, you'll know. So for my examples, I guess, my first meltdown was only about a month ago. Again, it's only been a year that I've been aware of my autism, and I've been working to unmask and just be my full neurodiverse self. And I was in an airport. I was going back to my home here from visiting my family, and I was running, I think it was at least a mile across an airport with a boarding time very soon approaching, lots of people around, carrying a very large bag on my shoulders, and also bringing my dog with me. All of that combined into one, I just had to stop moving, and I just in a snap, it felt like I was uncontrollably panicking, crying, couldn't talk. It was unexpected, for me at least, when I've never had that before. And I knew that it was a meltdown when I was experiencing it. And even with having anxiety and having panic attacks, for me, I can still keep panic attacks very internal. the times I've had panic attacks, no one would know because I'm just like frozen and that's how I respond. And it was a lot, obviously, but long story short, it all worked out. Don't worry about that. And my most recent meltdown was after having a phone call, and in that phone call, I felt like I was kind of being put on the spot. I was dealing with a lot of unexpected emotions and comments that I didn't know how to respond to, and I felt like I was not being heard, that it was just a lot. There's a lot of context to that, but essentially after that phone call, which phone calls, am I right? I immediately put down the phone and I just burst out with frustration, uncontrollable sobbing and wailing, which again, even when I've gotten upset before, I'm usually not that, at least not that expressive, if you will. And it's exhausting. It's obviously overwhelming. And if there are any people around you, they are probably also wondering, what the heck is going on? And they're probably really uncomfortable if they don't know what's going on with you. So I think the most obvious thing I can say is to avoid situations that would cause a meltdown. And you know yourself best that many times before you're going to have a meltdown, there are what called rumbles in just kind of noticing in yourself that you're starting to feel a lot, you're getting really anxious, you're getting really stressed and overwhelmed, and the blocks just keep building onto each other. So there's almost like a little pre-warning that it could be or will be coming up. So that can be helpful for you to know internally, as well as if it's within your means to communicate that to anyone else that's around you. That can be really helpful. And I think there's a lot of common triggers, which that term is overused, but there can be a lot of different things that all neurodiverse autistic people can just find causes a lot of distress, but there might be ones that are unique to you, and I think that's something important to explore and just kind of be more aware for yourself. And at the end of the day, I don't think you will ever completely avoid meltdowns altogether. You know, I think depending on how you experience your autism or your loved one's autism, it could just happen, and you can be as knowledgeable and aware and prepared, but you're never going to be completely prepared for everything. So just knowing what can set you off, understanding what those rumbles could feel like, and after you have that meltdown, which again, it depends on the person how that's experienced. It could be yelling, it could be anger, it could be just unintentionally trying to hurt yourself, and maybe some like thrashing. You know, it's a lot for you, and again, it can be a lot for other people too, especially when they know like in the moment they can't really help you. It's really just like this wave you have to ride until it does ebb out. Luckily, it's not like it's something that's forever. Again, kind of similar to a panic attack, but just really taking care of yourself afterwards, knowing what are your go-to ways to cope, what stims make you feel really good, what ways can you feel supported and just recharge yourself, because it is exhausting. It's like all of your energy spurred out into one, and you don't want to immediately go into a burnout, because we are just more sensitive with our energy, and it just feels kind of like this constant, again, using kind of the wave metaphor of it's high highs and low lows. So it really is just about learning more about yourself, being as open as you feel comfortable with that, and knowing how best you and others can just support you and help you be the best you can be, because you deserve that. You deserve all the support in the world. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. Please feel free to share your experiences and your tips, advice for others down below about experiencing meltdowns, and subscribe, like this video if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time.